Hello everybody. Okay, this is the next project I'm going to work on. Mercury 115 Inline 6, aka the Tower of Power. I don't have to say too much about this motor because everybody who's been around outboard engines knows what this is. Okay, this one here is, I believe, a 1987. One of the last ones built by Mercury. And I'm basically redoing the power head. I had one bad piston in there. So I'm going to put one new piston in there. And anyways, all the pistons, of course, had to come out. The cylinders still look good. I just honed them. So they're basically ready. Well, in this video, I'm going to show how to install the pistons and the crankshaft without any special tools. So I'm not going to use any piston ring compressor, and I'm not going to do it the way that you're supposed to do it, by basically attaching all pistons already to the crankshaft and lowering them all together into the engine block. There are some YouTube video clips where you can see how it's been done, but that's not how this one is gonna work. So just bear with me and check it out, because you don't need any special tools to do that. And yeah, enjoy the video. A little note on the side here, in this pot I'm boiling my pistons and the small parts like the needle bearings, which are in this basket here. And the way I'm cleaning them is simply heating up this stuff here, purple power. It's a very common cheap engine degreaser, and if you heat it up, it becomes very aggressive and cleans almost as good as carburetor cleaner. The problem with carburetor cleaner nowadays, it's gotten so damn expensive because all the fucking tree huggers. Let's just say what it is, okay? The fucking tree huggers who try to prohibit any product that does not agree with their ideologies. So carburetor cleaner has just the price of it has skyrocketed. Besides that, it has become so damn weak you can almost drink this shit. So you'd have to lay the pistons or whatever in carburetor cleaner probably for like a week till it's even remotely starts cleaning. Besides all that, in many places you can't even buy it anymore. They won't even sell you the 5-gallon drums anymore, or 5-gallon drums, like every automotive shop used to have around. Where back in the days, 20-30 years ago, that was very common. We had like 4 or 5 in every shop. They were probably like $30 a whole 5-gallon. You soaked everything in there overnight. Next morning shit was clean as a factory, but that doesn't exist anymore. So it's only one or two possibilities. You clean it by hand. Most of the time it doesn't work. Use this purple power here. You don't have to heat it up. You can just spray it on there and keep washing it off. But I found out it really works better if you just heat this stuff up. Or you have a hot tank, which most people do not. Okay, that's just a little side note here. So I'm getting ready to install the first piston in the lowest cylinder. This one was the one that was bad, so I bought one brand new piston. I didn't show how to install the rings, because that's not the issue here. If you don't know how to install piston rings, then don't do a job like that at all. No offense, but that's a basic. Everybody should know that. So We're ready to put this first piston in. Now first off, I'm gonna loop the cylinder walls. So don't get cheap on the oil. Just put plenty of them on there. It's not gonna hurt it. The more the better. It'll burn off anyways. Especially if you're, like I did, hone the cylinders out. Make sure the oil sticks everywhere. So, get to line the piston rings up. Keep them in place. Okay, here it goes. Okay, first piston is in. Just make sure it slides up and down without hanging up. Make sure the rings didn't break or anything. So, a little bit more oil on it. Yeah, don't get stingy on the oil. You can always drain it out, but it'll burn off. It's a 2-stroke motor, and that's just what they do. So it clearly moves without hanging up. If the rings are dislodged or broken, it won't move like this. So that's number one. And then you can put the block aside, and then you can see basically the rings right there. So pushed all the way down so it won't interfere with the crankshaft. Here, that's it. I didn't use any ring compressor, no special tools. That's what I used, a little plastic wedge, so I don't scratch neither the piston nor the cylinder wall surface. And that's it. All you have to do is work yourself around, because the bottom of the cylinder liners are beveled up, so that makes it much easier. The spring compressor, the Mercury, would go right in here, and basically on this area. But I would have bought them, but they're hard to come by and they're expensive. I'm not gonna plan on doing many of those motors. This is just for my own personal amusement, so I'm not building motors, not those at least. And the reason why on the later years of the 115s this is possible is because the changes Mercury did to the connecting rod cap. Get some of this dirt off. So this one here is
bolted on from below. So you basically just take them off. You can put the bearings in here, at least half of them. So the idea is setting the, of course, the way till the other pistons are in there, but then you set the crankshaft in there, and so you got the bearings in there, and I hold them in place with this transmission assembly glue. It's kind of some sticky type of grease. It's transmission builders use that to hold all those little needle bearings and shims and everything in place when they're assembled transmissions. And it completely burns off too anyways. But that's essential what you have to use. If not, then the needle bearings are gonna probably keep falling out, which wouldn't be good. So anyway, so the idea is you pull, once the bearing is in there, pull it against a crankshaft journal, and then simply put the cap back on. And then, of course, torque them down. Of course, put the other bearing half on top. So, the old style, however, this is the old style connecting rod. So, here's the problem. They put nuts, lock nuts, pointing towards the piston skirt, which in that case it would be installed like this, and then you cannot, if you were trying to do it with those type of rods, you won't be able to tighten them down because you're not going to have any space to get any wrench in there, let alone get the right torque on there. So that was a good change they did. Unfortunately, only, I believe, I would say probably 85, maybe 84. Well, this is an 87 motor, and it had those type of connecting rods. When I saw that, I was thinking, okay, that's the reason why they changed it. You can still do it the traditional way. If you have the Mercury ring compressor tool, by all means, stick it on there like everybody else does. Put the put all the pistons on the crankshaft and lower it down into the block. A few of those videos online on YouTube, so you can look them up. I think they're great videos. There's people doing a good job explaining it, but again, they weren't dealing with those type of connecting rods. I tell you what though, if I wouldn't have them, but I know they exist, I would probably buy a whole set of those connecting rods. I bought this one used for I think 15 bucks, shipping $20. It's in good shape. They're plentiful out there. I would just change them all around because they are interchangeable with the old style. Because from what I understand, they didn't really change anything on the bore, the pistons, or anything on those motors, for instance, since forever. Okay, so getting the other pistons ready, which I'm just going to keep installing. I don't have to explain this again, because that's just going to get boring, but you all get the idea, right? Okay, back to work. So all 6 pistons are in there. It was pretty easy. A couple of times I had to pull a piston back out and reposition the rings because they are keyed, they're staggered, and if they're not right on that key, you won't be able to push it in. Then once the piston is in, just pull them up and down a couple of times. If for some reason a ring would be dislodged or broken, you would feel it. It would have a different set of drag, especially if they get wedged in there. But also if you install those pistons by hand, it's almost impossible to break the rings because it would take quite some force. The only way rings really break if people using hammers with a traditional spring compressor, and if something is off, they keep just tapping, and if one of the rings getting stuck or gets dislodged a little bit, they can break, and you wouldn't feel it because you're hammering it in, even though you're not supposed to really hammer on it like a complete idiot. But some people just do. Anyhow, so in the last checkup here on this motor, you can nicely look at the exhaust and intake ports. Since the covers are off anyways, I would recommend to do that. And so final inspection, all the rings are sitting there. Nothing is broken, everything moves. Each piston has the same amount of drag going up and down. So I'm happy. So now it's time for putting the lower bearings together, and then next is going to be the crankshaft. So this is probably one of the most tedious tasks on this whole thing, putting those little bearing cages in there and yeah, sticking those tiny little needle bearings in there. But it has to get done. So now again I'm using this to keep the all the individual needles in place and the cages.
There are a total of 16 of those needle bearings in the connecting rods, but you have to put 7 in each of the half cases or cages. And but pay attention, once you pull the connecting rod against the crankshaft journal, you have to put on each side one more of the needle bearings in there, because those cages, they're divided. If you forget them, well, you're gonna have problems. So again, there's a 7 in each of the cages you put in on the connecting rod and the connecting rod cap, and then on each side one between them, and then you torque them down. It's very crucial.
So there you have it. So the next step is going to be, of course, torquing the connecting rod caps down. And you use also Loctite on them, because I believe that's what Mercury intended to do. And then basically the put the lower engine cover back on and put all the rest back together. But I'm not going to make a video out of this, because I'll be sure there's plenty of them out there already, and from here on forward it's all the same stuff. Just the most difficult stuff is done. Yeah, I just wanted to show it. You don't need special tools to install the pistons on the newer or the latest version of the Mercury 115 inline 6. I believe they call it the L6. And if I'm not wrong, I believe they started in 85, something like that, in this area. They started changing the connecting rods, where the bearing caps are being mounted from the outside with bolts. It's just like any other engine basically, and that makes a whole lot of difference. I don't know if other people have encountered this, or if that was really the intention of why Mercury did it this way. I could just about imagine that was the case. And to me it was a game changer. I actually had 2 of those motors. The other one was an older version, I think 80 or 82, which had the older type of connecting rods, where I could have not done it that way, simply for the fact because you can't torque them down then. Maybe you could, not sure, but anyways, I believe this was the easiest way to install all the pistons without using special tools. Because even if you have the original piston ring compressors, that means you have to have 6 of them, and the crankshaft would have to be suspended. You have to put all those ring compressors in place and then lower the crankshaft into the engine block. And again, there's a couple of good YouTube video clips. They're showing that pretty good. And as I mentioned before, if you have the compressor, spring compressors, well, do as you wish. I just wanted to put this out here for people who do not have the special tools, but have the skills to put a motor like this together. So That's how I did it. Thank you for watching.